Once you're out there in the field, every wholesaler you go into, you are going to see these products. They're out there. I have them out here so you know what's available once you get out into the field. Because, you know, there's a bunch of different coil cleaners there. I gave you guys a coil cleaning chart that they put on the wall over here, and you see a bunch of different gallons over there. So the first few slides are talking about why we clean coils. Have you guys gone through this part yet? Like, have you got into the service side of things, cleaning coils, maintenance, all that? Okay, so remember when we were talking about the iWave and we talked about the AC unit being the most expensive piece of equipment in the house? It is. Think of a residential house. Is there any piece of equipment in that house that is more expensive than the HVAC unit? Refrigerator? Ice machine? Water heater? Not even your pool equipment. AC unit is the most expensive thing in the house. So you want to make sure that when you have these service contracts, which is another way to make money when you own your own company, is get as many people on service contracts as you can. But when you go out there, you want to make sure that you are doing everything you can to keep that equipment running. So we have this, I'm not going through this entire slideshow because most of the slideshow is Nucalgon chemical. I'm going to skip to different ones so you can understand the difference of what chemical to use in what application, whether it's Nucalgon or anybody else. But there are key things that you need to look for in chemicals to know when and where to use it. So understanding the benefits of clean coils and how to handle select cleaners. So why would we even clean a coil? So you guys have all seen the outdoor condensing units, right? They're in the elements. So what do you think happens? Do you guys understand how the condensing units work? So they have the refrigerant going through, they got the fan, the refrigerant goes from gas to liquid, and it is allowing, all of these fins allow for the heat transfer that allows you to heat or cool your house. Well, if these are all gummed up, you are losing heat transfer. You are making your condensing unit work extra hard. It's like if you don't change an air filter. Why do we change air filters? To keep the flow going. Well, if you clog an air filter, you are making your equipment work that much harder. Well, if you do that, right, dirty coils do what? They increase energy costs. They decrease system capacity. You need your system running at full capacity to get the output that it's supposed to have. You know, whatever CFM it's set at. And you don't want that compressor to have to work so hard to either give you the cool air that you need or the hot air that you need. And they shorten equipment life. So if you think about it, if you let your outdoor condensing coil get like this and don't ever do anything with it, and we're in Modesto, right? 113 degrees in the summer. What did we have this year, September? We had like 2 weeks of insane heat. If your outdoor condenser looks like this and it's hot, every homeowner's keeping their AC cranked, right? Every commercial building, like you walk into commercial buildings and you're like, you know, you go to the theater, you better bring a jacket, right? You go to a hospital, you better bring a jacket because it's so cold inside. Well, in a commercial application, they have to keep the inside of their buildings at a comfortable temperature because the more people you get inside a building, right, the hotter it's going to get. Well, if this is what the outside looks like, and that compressor's pumping, trying to keep up with the demand that the thermostat is saying what you need in the house, this is what happens. Your compressor burns out. there's too much load on the system. And this just seems like such a simple thing to do, right? And it is a simple thing to do, but people neglect it all the time. So
Can I interject just a second more?
yeah,
Maybe we said, guys, we know what business? Heat removal business. And what is a condenser and an evaporative coil? They are heat exchangers, right?
yeah.
And what did I say dirt is?
Insulator.
Thank you. If you've got a heat exchanger that's insulated, is it gonna work properly?
No, nope.
This is what we're talking about.
It's a great point, and that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. So once you get out there, it's like, what do we use to clean this? And we're going to get into that. So this is the outdoor unit. When we get into the indoor unit, that's pretty much what we were talking about with the iWave, right? That indoor unit is what can bring all of the bacteria and everything into the house. So if you have an evap coil that looks like that, it's going to restrict the airflow. If you're not maintaining it, you're going to get all of the bacterial growth that builds up on an evap coil and builds up in a condensate drain pan. And trust me, it happens. When an AC unit is running and it's calling for cool, the evaporators are just have the condensation. It just runs down, which is why you have a drain pan, which is why it goes out to the side yard. So over the summer, and this is an example of why you need to maintain equipment. And when you are going there as a service tech, to make sure that you're taking the time to check all avenues. Because I got a phone call. My wife and I were having a swim party. And one of my wife's best friends, whose parents live in the same neighborhood, said, hey, so-and-so's parents have an issue right now. Can you go check it out? I'm like deep into the beers and my barbecue, and so it's 117. I'm not going to their house right now. What's going on? They have water leaking through their can lights. I'm like, oh dang, that's not good. So I know it's 117, all right? So I know that their evap coil is pumping condensation. If that drain pan's overflowing, then somebody neglected that unit, right? Either they didn't have anything in the condensate drain pan, it's something to help stop the bacterial growth or something. And I think one thing that technicians miss from time to time is if there is no growth, because you have your condensate drain pan and then your backup pan, I don't think it's a bad idea to just blow air down the condensate drain lines just to make sure that they're clear. Because what you can't see, you don't know. And so
It takes 2 minutes.
and it's seconds. You climb up in the attic and check it. So I go over there, and sure as shit, their secondary drain pan is full. And so I used a couple of my Nucalgon tools, and nothing's working. So I finally grabbed this little CO2 gun, and I start blasting. It took me 3 cartridges, and I just felt it. I was like, oh, hallelujah. And so I go outside, and the wife is losing her mind. She's like, what did you do? I go, I just cleared your drain line. She goes, you just blew stuff all over my backyard. A hornet's nest was probably this far in on the outlet of the secondary condensate drain line, which was backing everything up. It took a while for that hornet's nest to be built. And they had just had a service technician there. If he would've just taken the time to just blow some air through there to make sure it was going free, it would have caused a lot of headaches. And I wouldn't have had to be in my swim trunks in an attic at 117. Remember, I told you guys I had been in an attic. I didn't say how often, but I've been in an attic and I hated it because I wanted to be back at my swim party.
This exact same thing happened to me at my home about a month ago. I came in the garage and I'm looking at my ceiling sagging and water dripping. I knew exactly what went on. I drilled some holes so the whole ceiling so the water could escape. The guy came out and he blew the drain out. It's and that happens. And the unit had been serviced about 6 months before. And I don't think the guy who serviced it then blew out the drains. And it's literally a 1 minute job, guys.
It's not hard.
Keep your customers happy.
Absolutely. So it's